it occurred to me, I've still never seen this damn documentary. So I finally
Yeah.
watched it, and I was struck by how bad and disorganized it was, and it didn't seem to have a point. And then I asked Laura for her thoughts on it, and I asked you for your thoughts on it, and it seems like everyone involved with this documentary seems
Controlled opposition. And like I said, as we build the case and show more evidence, you'll start to see a picture. Well, what's going on is are they OSA? And doesn't this play into Scientology's operative? Calm down, people. We'll get there. So this is what controlled opposition means. Controlled opposition is a term used to describe a movement led by government agents. Over the course of time, these agents or officials have a community completely.
yeah.
And I had no idea that there was people still charging people and trying to rope them into their own little cult.
If you've only begun to look seriously at anti-Scientology information, whether through YouTube videos or other places, this may seem a little overwhelming or irrelevant. So let me get to the essentials. Basically, Doug was trying to help Steve Mango, who had a big issue with some, quote, ex-Scientologist secretly practicing Scientology and auditing and then charging Mango for it. And then when they were caught, they basically did a cover-up. And people may not want to hear this, but Aaron was a part of that. Now, it could be Aaron was completely innocent and he was being manipulated. And if you haven't caught up, him and Rinder and his allies are no longer cooperating. So with the Headleys and Rinder himself, Aaron says, they're not welcome, I'm going to expose their lying. But then with other allies of Rinder, basically he's not saying anything. He's promising it's a new day of transparency, but Doug, in an older video, called him out and said, listen, if we have issues, why don't we talk it through? And he thought they would, but Doug was like, no, apparently he was not interested in a real conversation.
And there's a whole nother video to do about that. I'm not going to take up all the stuff that was going on the channel. I'm very aware of it, guys. You don't need to tell me what's going on. So that Aaron called me. Remember, that went up on June 28th. Aaron called me. He's never called me before, but he called me twice on July 3rd. And he said, this is a couple days after Janice went on. And I wanted to point out that Karen hasn't made the rounds in at least about a month. But what she does, as you'll see evidence for, and again, that's why you have to watch the Steve Mango video. You have to see the evidence because it's too much to already talk about. That's your homework. But I already know that the way she's going to handle this video coming out, being put out by me, and I'm going to show you some text exchange between me and Karen and Jeffrey and how the whole cult works that she ropes people into. So stick around. We're just getting started. So Aaron calls me on July 3rd. That would be Monday. I don't answer because I'm sleeping, man. And I was like, oh, this guy wants to talk about blocking the comments and all the heat that he's getting from the Over the Rainbow because he blocked people's comments from reporting on that. And when he had Jeffrey on, he tried to, I guess he had to, I wasn't there, but I've gotten comments and emails saying he's censoring people that are calling, challenging Jeffrey on stuff while he had him live. And Aaron calls him his good friend. By the way, Aaron might not know what's going on. He might be savvy enough to, he has a big enough channel. I don't know if he's totally co-opted. I think that there's hope.
So Aaron did have the opportunity to speak to Doug about, quote, the Rainbow documentary, which apparently exposed some of these Rinder allies like Jeffrey and Karen, and them secretly kind of keeping tabs on people, gaslighting people, creating this kind of secret echo chamber to sort of control a lot of the anti-Scientologists and ex-Scientologists. Doug himself was not directly involved. This is more Steve Mango. But Doug made the mistake of helping Mango speak out, and we will let Mango and him speak on that issue directly.
The end is everyone who got really toxic with.
I believe I have them on 1.25 because we have a lot to get through, but I think you guys can hear that okay.
Yep. The scam that, Karen pulled on me for $7,500 of
yeah.
auditing.
Do you want to talk about that? Or for people that aren't familiar, because Karen's come up quite a bit and I have a video on her that kind of shows her true character in a movie called Over the Rainbow, which is only posted on my BitChute channel. Yeah, that's really who Karen is, because I had interactions with her too. Most of the people are really, they're decent. They're not toxic like that, but we were talking about narcissists before and I'd put her in that category for sure. And just very manipulative and stuff behind the scenes. I don't want to harp on her because I don't want to sow discord in the community, just because there's too much bullshit going on, and OSA plays into that anyways. But it is important to know that, you know, people who are people who aren't what they seem to be. This is the part that really pissed me off, and I want to show people what we're talking about here real quick, because he did 3 videos on this. God, this is bringing back some fucking shit, man. Just because this person, man, you know, it's one thing, Stephen, to get out of the cult and, you know, really need help. I trusted the
They took about several $1,000s and then tried to gaslight him and lie about them having any interaction. Apparently, Karen called the cops on Mango. Where does Aaron come in? Well, Aaron coincidentally coordinated some videos and apparently a live with Jeffrey and a few others to basically try to discredit Doug in the documentary. And Doug thought, oh, okay, he's contacting me, which he never did. And basically Aaron just asked permission, can I use the film? And Doug is like, yeah, you don't have to ask permission, you can use the film. And they basically did a very, very skewed job and tried to discredit him instead of speaking directly. Again, he's not saying Aaron is a bad guy. He's not saying some of these allies are bad people. But he is saying there was a cover-up. Why this is happening, still not clear. But he suspects that they have their own agenda and they're, at the very least, manipulating Aaron. And if you know Aaron, sometimes he lets himself be manipulated if it furthers his own cause. So apparently he just thought, well, at least for a while, these Rinder allies are useful to give him more clout, to give him a bigger platform, because they have their own connections, they have their own juicy, spicy stories. So it's better to still work with them than work with Doug. And there we are. So Aaron is saying it's a new day. There's no more gaslighting, guys. There's no more hierarchy. No more gatekeeping. It's a new day. Yay! Yay! But will that really happen? At least with Doug and Mango and a few others, no, they're still going to be silenced. And what happened before is going to be this ancient history that never happened. Or, I think you must understand. I was trying to contact Doug. I'm Aaron's. I'm open to everyone's. No, there's going to be a lot of censoring, a lot of silencing of victims because they don't fit the new narrative. Which, again, if that's going to be the case, just be upfront that no, it's going to be still a closed debate. Is it a better echo chamber than Mike Rinder? Yeah, probably, but it is still an echo chamber.
Let me pull myself up here. That video went up on January 28th. I already know Karen's going to lose her mind because whenever that pops up, and it's not that you can't find it, and I included the link, by the way, to the full video. I only edited it for fair use and because it's boring as fuck if you add in all the other irrelevant, in my opinion, stuff about that movie. And there's a whole nother video to do about that. I'm not going to take up all the stuff that was going on the channel. I'm very aware of it, guys. You don't need to tell me what's going on.
But Karen happened to mention Bill Franks to Jeff, the guy who made the movie, right? And he got interested in interviewing Bill Franks. Now, Bill Franks is a real important person in the history of Scientology.
Here, I'll bring up his photo here. Oops, actually, I really like that view. That's a good view.
Now, Bill Franks and I were very, very close.
And by the way, Bill Franks was in the documentary.